Topic of today's video. What work would you do if you were already a billionaire? Go to the comments right now and go comments what comes to mind. What work would you do if you were already a billionaire? Just go pause the video, comment like one word or two words or whatever, just what's coming to mind right now, just because it'll be super interesting for everyone to see what ideas we got. Let's talk about why this question is cool. This question makes you focus on intrinsic motivation. That's basically about the input, like how much we enjoy a task for the sake of doing that task compared to how much we enjoy a task for the result that we get. So there's a result and there's, we'll call it input and output. There's input, there's output. Most people live their lives by chasing output, the result, the reward, right? So they want muscle, so then the input is that they'll eat clean and they'll go to the gym. They want to be flexible, so then they'll do stretching. They want to have a good brain, so then they'll do meditation. They want to make money, so then they'll work this job, whatever. It's not terrible to do that, but that's what normal people do, and usually whatever normal people do is not what we want to do as ambitious young men. The better way, for at least some areas of life, is to ask yourself, what things do you want to do for the input itself? So forget about the output, forget about the reward. And maybe you want to keep that in your mind a little bit, right? Because of course, like you want a positive, output. You don't want a negative output. But what things would you do for the input itself? What is enjoyable? For me, for example, weightlifting has always been enjoyable. From day one, 10 years ago, to where I am now, the input was fun. For me, YouTube, the input was fun. You know what's interesting? The most progress, the most sort of success I've gained in two areas, YouTube and in weightlifting, were both the things that were actually fun for me to actually do the tasks. And those are the areas where I got the highest output. And you might have noticed this for yourself as well. The things that you enjoy the most are often the ones that you do long enough to get the best output, the reward from them. So ask yourself, okay, well, what's the input? Let's say, specifically with your work. What's the input? What is the task you actually want to spend your time on? If you were already a billionaire, what task would be fun for you to do? You're not really thinking about the output anymore. Although, the output's still nice, if you still want to make more money, whatever. Okay, cool, whatever. But then you'll start to think more about the input, right? When you, like, for example, if you're already super jacked, at that point, then you can think, okay, well, what is it I actually want to do with my training? Because I've already got the reward now. Detaching the input from output is so intelligent. Most people are just entirely focused on the output. That's called the external motivation. So that's like, we'll do things for what we get out of them. External motivation. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. Don't go so extreme to think that that's like a bad thing. But the internal motivation is we'll do things because it's basically enjoyable in and of itself. And although the external motivation isn't a bad thing, it's still a nice thing. I'd rather you're still externally motivated to make money, to build the physique, whatever, because that's still going to make you into a better person. You're going to develop character, discipline. It's going to keep you off the street. So there's nothing wrong with, chasing the reward and the output of life. Don't let anyone try and gaslight you into thinking like there's anything wrong with that. But it would be lovely for you to have things that you were internally motivated for. And usually they're the ones that will get you the external motivation. Like, for example, let's say the external motivation is money. This is where it gets interesting. Let's say all of us, okay, we want money. That's the external motivation. That's the output that we all want, right? This is what's interesting. Most people, I would genuinely believe about 80% of people would then choose the input that they think will make them the most money and the fastest money. And these people end up poor. They start doing some bullshit. Okay, drop shipping. No, fuck. Okay, agency. What the fuck is an agency? E-man said it. Oh, no. Crypto. Oh, crypto. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, fucking trading. Oh, okay, it's trading right now. Okay, okay. Like, they're just switching around. Entrepreneurs, like shit businessmen, jumping, just looking for the fastest way to get the output. Their progress looks like this. In like a graph, right? Randomly make a ton of money, then they lose it all. That's it. But the guy who chooses and he starts from the input he actually enjoys, his progress just looks like this, like that. Because he's doing it because, yeah, sure, he wants to make money, but also it's actually fun for him. So he's not in as much of a rush. He's making better decisions. He's got way more sort of passion, which is way like so powerful. I'm telling you right now, bro. Anyone who's telling you like don't be passionate, ignore your passion, I'm telling you, they're not that intelligent. If you're not passionate for what you do, you can't compete anymore. The world is so competitive. You know that idea of like, oh, don't try and follow your passion, or follow your passion is a scam. No, not anymore. It's a fucking like it's compulsory. If you're not passionate about what you do, you won't get shower thoughts about it. You won't obsess over it. You have to like hard work isn't really that competitive anymore because fucking everyone does it. Working smart isn't even that competitive anymore because everyone fucking does it. Now the last thing is, okay, well, what are you extremely, extremely passionate about to the point that you'll fucking work on it all day and night and you'll constantly get new ideas because you genuinely care about it. When you find something you're passionate about, when you find something that you actually enjoy, you will just stick to it for 10, 20 years straight. You won't randomly stop it to go do something else because you'll just be like, no, but I like this. I like this thing. That's what helps you to get progress over the long term. And so this is why This is why you detaching the input from output is so intelligent. I'm telling you, the best people I know, they're not completely obsessed over the output, the result. They just love the thing that they do. They love the input, the task, right? They love the task that they do. There's some tasks that they don't like. Okay, absolutely. That's going to happen with everything you do. But largely, they like the tasks that they're doing for the output. Let's give you another example. Let's say, okay, we want money. And there's two vehicles, two inputs we can have. One of them, let's say, is low internal motivation. Basically, it's not fun, but it is going to make more, like it has the possibility to make more money. The other one has higher internal motivation, so it is fun for us, and it will probably make us less money. Like, see the dollar, it's not even dollar sign, but the dollar sign's smaller, right? Which one of these would you choose? A lot of people will say this one, and they'll say this one because even though it's not enjoyable, I'll make the money and then I'll quit it. And then I'll do the thing that I really want. So they've literally just admitted that they are brain dead. They've literally just admitted that they're going to do this. Right? Oh, well, as soon as they go through some hard times, some obstacles, they're just going to quit and do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. They're just not going to make any real fucking progress. Most people will say that they actually would choose, they'll say that they'd choose this one because they're not intelligent, and they'll end up making less progress even though the money there could have been higher. Like, you could make money faster. You could make money faster by doing some stupid business model that's like got nothing to do with you, or some stupid career. But there'll be someone in there who enjoys it, and he'll fuck you up because he enjoys it, because you both are doing the same business model. You both will learn how to work hard and how to work smart. The only difference is that guy enjoys it, so he's got a smile on his face. He's bringing way better energy. He's getting way more ideas. He discusses it when he's with people as well. He just will surpass you. You don't have a competitive advantage here. This one, on the other hand, you do. Let's say it makes less money, but you just enjoy it so much. It's not unrealistic to think you could become one of the best in the world at something that you really enjoy when you have like the sort of character traits of the kind of guy who can get obsessive, and you learn the ins and outs of it. You read books on it and whatever. This one, here's the interesting thing: the thing that makes less money will actually make you more money overall, just over the long time, because you'll stick to it. You won't quit, whilst everyone else quits because they're just jumping from one novelty thing to one novelty thing because they're externally motivated. It's the internally motivated guy. It's the guy who just enjoys the task in and of itself. That's the one who just sticks to it for 10 years straight, and he gets massive success from that. So this is what I would recommend to you on top of this concept of, okay, what work would you do if you were already a billionaire? Find your purpose / life task. And that basically, this is like, I don't actually like this phrase anymore, purpose or whatever. I used to talk about it a lot. Life task is a phrase from, what's this guy's name? Robert Greene. He's the author of the 48 Laws of Power, and his book, Mastery, talks about this. I don't quite like these phrases anymore because they make it seem way more mystical than it actually is. So we're going to simplify it to just, what contribution do you want to have on the world? Forget this. This is vague as fuck. I really don't like this phrase. I feel like I wasted so much of my time thinking about this phrase. The way better word is, what contribution do you want to have on the world? Just ask yourself that question. What contribution do you want to have? What people or things do you want to help? What area is it in? Is it in the area of like men's issues, or on fitness and health, or on climate change, or on race issues, or on I don't know, like cleaner water? Yeah, you know what? What's the topic that really calls out to you that you just feel like, man, like someone's got to fix that in the world? For me, it was always like men's issues, self-improvements. Okay, so we've got it. Okay, the people I'm going to help are like young men. The topic is going to be like self-improvement, men's issues. There. And we're starting to find, okay, what's my contribution? Where do I want to contribute on the world? All the world is like divided. There's so many problems. Where do I want to contribute to make the world a better place? Just ask yourself that question, because that will really help you to answer a question like this. What would you do if you were already a billionaire? Because if you were already a billionaire, the best thing you would do is find the highest leverage format for you to work through this contribution. So, for example, if I want to contribute to the world by helping men with their self-improvements, to deal with men's issues, then the way I do that is probably through social media, because I can teach millions and millions of people and help them to get educated on certain issues that they can improve their lives with. I just educate. The highest leverage basically means what's the way that you could impact the most people, or in the best way. So highest leverage format for something like this, which is my one, is social media, basically content. Because content can go super viral, and you can very much influence the minds of millions, tens of millions of people. For you, it might not be the same, but for most of us, it probably is. It probably will be content, actually. Content, making social media content, is basically the highest leverage thing that the common man has ever had in existence before. You can literally influence the minds of millions of people just by you recording content or writing content on your phone and then just posting it to these social media sites. It's not easy, of course. You still need to like get viral and learn how to play and the game and learn how to do well on the algorithm and everything. All those things, by the way, I teach inside of my program, which is right here if you wanted to join. I have like this awesome program where like, look, guys are making their money and everything. Look, 47 minutes ago, Noah made a sale. 13 hours ago, Tomek got his first sale ever. Noah's got another sale. Seva's got a sale. You get my point, right? So top link in the description will be my content creation course. If you wanted to have a look, if you wanted to get better at making content, it's pretty good. But it probably will be content. And it doesn't have to be, but like the reason why this is important is because I want you to just think, okay, in what way could you help people the most? Let's say the quantity of people, which is usually going to be with content. And then another one is, in what way could you help people, the issue, with depth? Because, for example, if we're going for quantity, like sheer volume, then I would do content, for example. But if we're going for depth, that might not be the same. If we're going for depth for my one, which was, like men and self-improvements, I might then become like a teacher in like a school. It's not high leverage in the sense that like, I'd have to work for 1 hour to impact like 30 kids in the school. Whereas I can work for 1 hour here and impact like 100,000 people who watch the video. So this definitely has like higher leverage, but this one would have higher depth because I'm there in person and I'm speaking to them. This is kind of like what I do because I have like these communities that I'm like a teacher in as well as, but that's just like a separate point about me. But just ask yourself some of these questions, right? If you were already a billionaire, what work? Because you'd still have a work, right? I think you know that, right? You're not just going to randomly just not work anymore. You'd have like a grind, right? What would the grind be? Well, especially like you'd probably want something which probably still makes money, even though you don't want more money. It just kind of like, people seem to do that when they're super rich. They still are making money with the things they do. So what would be the work for you? I asked a friend of mine this yesterday. We were stood like next to the pool, and I asked him, this question: if you're already a billionaire, what would you do? And he said, oh, I'd just post content. I'd literally just post social media content, and I'd just try and help people for free through that. And I said, yeah, exactly same. And I think a lot of people would actually say the same thing. What's interesting was right now he's a fitness coach. So he has like a great physique and he does like high ticket coaching where people pay him like $750 or something. And he kind of like, messages them, keeps them accountable, whatever. And I said, well, if you were a billionaire, would you still do that? And he went, no, just no. Just like, he's doing it to pay the bills, fine. But it's not something he wants to continue other than just to make the money from it. This content for him and for me and for maybe many of us is the thing you would do if you didn't even make money from it, just because you want to spread your fucking message to people. You just want more people on the planet to have like a similar kind of values to you, similar belief system. A lot of masculine men really feel this way as well. Like we want to change the minds of as many men as possible to like, form like a brotherhood. And this is beautiful because when you do this with content, then you can form a community, right? You get followers who literally will like agree with you. They vouch for you, they'll fight for you. You can go to any country in the world and there'll be people who like you already, which is very powerful. So that's like a new form of currency, which even though we're technically billionaires by this analogy, the social currency is still something that we want. So I just think content is so amazing as the answer to this. It was my answer as well. I don't know if it was for you, but the work I would do if I was already a billionaire, 100%, I'd just be posting content, bro. I'd just be choosing some purposeful sort of issue that I feel like I can help, which I already have, which is like, okay, I just help men with men's issues. And I'll just grind the fucking content. Now, here's the interesting part though. Once you've thought of the idea of yourself, what if you subtract everything that is not that? So let's say my example, or let's say my friend's example. His answer to the question was, okay, content. What if he takes out all of the work in his life that is not this? This is what he should be doing. By definition of this question, this is the thing that he's called towards. Like this would be like his sort of purpose, his life task is to spread a message by using content. And not specifically because it's content, but just because content is like high leverage. That's why we're just going to make an important clarification. But his sort of task would be spreading his message, right? That's like the highest leverage thing he's chosen to do if he was a billionaire. If he removed everything else, even things that are paying for the bills right now, and he started to, glide away from those slowly by adding in other things, he'd actually have a better life. So I said to him, why don't you do that? Right now you're doing all this coaching, which if you don't know, coaching is like a lot more sort of direct work, basically, where he will go on a call with people just to see if they want to buy the program. And it's like a sales call. Then they'll buy it. Then he's the one messaging them. He's the one like creating these documents for them and everything. All this, these work tasks that he doesn't really want to do. He's just doing because he has to kind of check the boxes the person's bought from him. I said, instead of all that, what if you just sold something that didn't need any more of your time? Like, what if you sold like a course or ebook, for example? Like, just sold education. That way, someone buys it. It's lower price as well. If his price is almost 1K here, his price for like a course or an ebook might be like $20, for example. I said, what if you sell something like that, $20, maybe up to about $200? If you saw something like this, someone would buy it and they wouldn't expect you because it's quite a low price point for a online product that they would buy it just for the course modules. You wouldn't need to do any more sort of help that you don't want to do because you don't really want to do this coaching kind of stuff. You don't want to be taking these sales calls. You don't want to be doing the whole delivery, having to text people and whatever. Someone buys this, they've bought the thing that you've already made, you get the money, you don't have to fulfill anything more because they've already just paid for the thing that you've made, like a book or a training program or whatever. And then that means that once you've set this up once, all your time and attention can literally just be put onto content. And the content is a flywheel because now that you're focusing more on it, you'll get more sales of that product. And he was so inspired by this. He actually joined my program, even though he's a friend of mine. He joined that ECC program I told you about. He made his fitness program over 4 days. And he said, his life already feels better. He'll start getting some sales of this fitness program and he'll start reducing the coaching that he's doing so that way more of his time and effort can just be put on the content, which is the thing he'd rather do. And it's also the thing that when he gets good at, he can just get more sales of the course anyway. So that's a very specific example of how a guy who's doing social media could use this question productively. But it's something for you to think about as well. What was the answer to the billionaire question for you? And ask yourself, why don't you push into that right now? And the easiest answer would be but I'm already making money, or, the thing I would do as a billionaire, I can't really do right now because I need to make the money right now. But what I would say is, bro, the money you want to make will come from you doing that task. Like, that's the reason why I became successful in the first place. I could have chose some other business model. And in fact, yeah, like, I don't know if you knew my story, but back in 2022, I was actually making a few £100 a month, like 400 a month from drop shipping. And I was even making about 400 a month as well from flipping, like from selling things on eBay. I was making both like this much, okay? And I was making zero on YouTube. But I literally, like, imagine it would have been if you were already making money from these businesses and I told you, like, no, like, imagine you were a billionaire, like, you'd probably do this social media thing, helping people, maybe a podcast, whatever, something that could help people. Why don't you switch over to that? You'd say, like, no, but I'm already making money. Once I've made enough money, that's when I'll switch to the wholesome thing. But that's not how it works. I swear to God, I saw these things and I was like, wait, even though I'm making money, I know overall I'll make more money when I do the thing that I'm actually supposed to be doing, when I do the thing that I actually feel like is contributing to humanity, where I'm like needed, where I'll just work 10 times harder. These I was doing for the external motivation, just for the result itself. I wouldn't do these for fun. This one I was doing for fun. And guess what? I went all in on this and it didn't work. I didn't make money right away. In May, I went all in. I stopped the other businesses. I moved back home and I made £0. In June, I made £0. In July, I made £0. In August, I made £0. And then in September, that's when it really kicked off for me. And I made £3.50. Whew. Not 350, not 3.5K. I made £3.50. Like fucking a fiver, less than a fiver. October was 166. I still remember that. I forgot what November was, but I think it was about 300-ish. And December, I still remember, was about 600. January the next year was 1.5K. 1.5K. It stayed around 1.5K for a little while. It actually went down to about 700 a few months later because I stopped selling as much. I felt like money was a bad thing or something stupid. It was stupid to think that in about March or something. But then in August, one whole year later, so this was August of 2020, now we're talking August 2021, one of my videos did really well, and I made 15K in the month. And I never went below 15K. It was 15, 20, whatever, for a long time. Then it went up to 100K, then 120, 130, whatever. For a while, it would have been so easy for me to say probably the same thing you're thinking, like, no, but I can't switch over to the real task I'm supposed to be doing, the real task that I do even if I was a billionaire. I can't switch over to that because I'm already making money in the other things. So what I'll do is I'll make a bunch of money in the other things first. Like, I'll go make 1 million or 5 million first, then I'll go and do the task that I actually want to do. And I'm telling you, I promise it does not work like that. These days, the game is so competitive because there's so many people who are locked in, who are trying to make money from every business model, that if you think that you're going to get into a business that you're doing just for the money, you're going to be able to compete. You just won't, because you'll be competing with people who want the money as well, but then they also have the passion and the interest inside of it as well. They also have the internal motivation. They'll literally just destroy you because you're literally just doing it for the external motivation. They're doing it for the money as well, but also they'll have a competitive advantage because they just care more than you, right? But there's something that you would have the competitive advantage in that other people are in right now just doing it for the money, but you'll be the one who'd fucking destroy them because you would have the internal motivation plus also the desire of the money and this currency that comes with it. Like, think about it. If the answer to your question for this question here was like, okay, I do content, social media, a lot of people are just doing that for money right now. But if you would be doing that because you genuinely think it's like, bro, that's like God's work, right? This is like literally the best work you could be doing. You'd want the money as well, but you'd also be internally motivated, thinking like, this work's really fucking important. You'd destroy the guy who just wants the fucking money. Do you see this question is so? Do you see this question is so fucking important? And look, I know it's so easy to say, no, Hamza, this is wrong. You're only saying this because you've already got money, but I need to make money, so I should just go chase the money first. But that's not how it works. The guy who chases doesn't get the thing. When you chase money, when you chase women, you don't get them. You have to attract them. You attract them into your life, not by chasing them, but by living a life that's so enjoyable, by basically fun maxing in like a healthy way, contribution maxing. that then it comes to you. Instead of making your ultimate goal, like your biggest goal, money, make your biggest goal contribution. In what area, in what area do you want to contribute? If you focus on this, you will excel in whatever career, business you get into. And of course, with that will come the money. I think it's really dangerous to put money as the biggest goal in terms of your work thing, because even though that's what, we all need, I'm not disrespecting money. I think it's super important. I actually think you'll make more money when you focus more on contribution, because that will help you to make the right choices. That will help you to choose, okay, which business or career you want to get into. So really ask yourself, okay, what contribution do you want to have from your work? Stop reducing yourself down to the levels of the peasants where they're like, oh no, but I will only work for resources. I will only work if master gives me some pennies. That's like slave level bullshit. I will only work so that my needs are met, that I can have some fucking bread. This is slave level bullshit, bro. This is like fucking subhuman, like fucking Jeffrey level of like, no, I will only work for money. As work for the fucking world. Work. Like what do you want to work on? What is the work and the task and contribution that the world needs from you? If you work for contribution, you will end up making more money than the person who works for money itself, especially now. Look, if there's some old school entrepreneurs, they could disagree with this and be like, no, actually, because I don't care about the contribution that like my gas company makes, I just do it for money. And to that, I'd say, yeah, fair enough. The old school guys, like guys who are 40, 50, they got away with just chasing the money. They got away with that because back then you just needed to have some specific knowledge and hard work and grit and whatever. These days to compete, that's not enough. You need all the character traits, right? You need the humility, you need the discipline, you need the resilience, you need all those things like you've always needed. But the biggest thing is now, bro, everyone who's playing this game has learned those things, right? Think about how many people have watched like Andrew Huberman and they're getting sunlight in the morning and everyone's doing meditation and breath work and everything. Or the top 10% of people are, bro, they're doing everything, right? The 90%, sure, they're just Jeffries, they're like fucking subhumans, they're not even doing anything. But the top 10% of people, they're doing like all the self-improvement habits, they're doing the productivity routines and everything. You can't you're not going to compete with those guys unless if your specialty is that you are just so much more passionate and you really just, you feel like this is your fucking contribution to humanity. Now, this is the new competitive space. This is, you know how like hundreds of years ago you could compete by hard work. 100 years ago, 50 years ago, you could compete by working smart. Even 10 years ago, you could compete by working smart. Now everyone's working hard and smart at the same time. Now it's more about where you have allocated yourself in the industry, in the niche, in which micro niche, with which industry, which format you have chosen. And the way to do this is to basically like fun max, to align it to what's actually enjoyable and actually fits your personality. If you do this, if you align your work to what fits your personality, what you actually enjoy, if you enjoyment max, joy max, enjoyment max. If you maximize your joy from your work, you will find that you'll still be working as hard as everyone else. You'll still be working as smart as everyone else. But the difference is you will just get so many more ideas and you will excel faster than everyone else because you actually just give a shit more than they could, because you actually feel like this is really the work for you, not just the work for the money, but this is literally your work. This is your contribution to humanity. So find the flow state task. If you've started to figure out, okay, what task or what work would I do if I was already a billionaire? Another way you can figure this out is to ask yourself, what's the flow state task? So task is, okay, what we're specifically spending our time on. Like, for example, right here, right now, for the last 15 minutes, I've specifically been spending my time on this task here where I'm recording this video, and the format of it is like this screen recording, and it's like a talking head video, but it's like a face cam, right? This is a flow state for me. Look, I'm pretty tired. I didn't sleep so well yesterday, whatever, so I'm a little bit sleepy, whatever, but I'm still in a flow state. A flow state is basically when you have no thoughts and you're in the zone. I'm in the zone right now. I'm in the fucking zone. My eyes hurt. The screen's too bright, actually. My eyes hurt. I'm a little bit sleepy, but I'm in the fucking zone. I always am. Every time I fucking record a video, I'm always in the zone. That's a flow state for me. The idea with this question is find what is your flow state task. In which specific block of time does your brain just shut the fuck up with all the incessant fucking narrative, and does it let you just fucking like enjoy yourself and be in the zone? For me, it's recording. It's not writing. which is interesting because you could write content, but my brain is still loud when I'm writing content. It's when I'm recording videos, basically. Specifically, it's when I'm speaking. Because it doesn't need to be a video. If I was just doing an audio, like voice message, it's the same thing. When I'm speaking, I'm in such a good flow. I'm naturally, even though like I'm not overly smiling right now, I'm naturally in like a pretty good mood as I'm speaking. Even if I'm speaking about something deep, I just feel like this is like right for me. So that's how we choose like the specific task that we want to go all in on that gives us like the highest joy. Just experiment a little bit and ask yourself, and like if you've done it enough experimentation, you'll probably know right away which format, which task do you often enjoy the most? And just see if you can go all in on just that task. For me, if it's speaking, I just record content. I don't really write much content, like not that much, maybe just short things here and there. But I'm more of a speaker. I'll write a book. I'll probably bust it out in like a few days of like full focus, 10 hours a day writing or something. But for me, I'm like more of a speaker. So that's like my flow state task, which means that me working on this business is genuinely enjoyable. Like I don't have to be here. I basically retired already. I made more than enough money I need for the rest of my life. I'm just recording these videos because it's literally, one, it feels like it's genuinely contributing to humanity so much. But two, it's just fun for me. So it's like if it's anything that's fun for you, like you'll just do it anyway. It's fun. Again, it's like it's fun, but it's also good for me as well because it keeps me on like a good level. I'm more of like I see myself as more of like a leader, which means that I have to make sure that I'm like locked in on the things that I teach my followers to do. That means that I'm like keeping off the fucking street as a term, and I'm like keeping off the dopamine shit, and I'm like trying to live the life that I'm telling young men to live as well. So this shit's fun for me, and it contributes to humanity. And it makes now a fuck ton of money because there's so much internal motivation that I have for this that I haven't quit after doing this for 5 years, even though I didn't need to, even though, there's always pains and obstacles of everything you go to. This is a very extremely the most productive career you could possibly choose. The most public career you could possibly choose. There's millions of people who have judged me negatively. I've had hate, whatever. And yeah, I'm still here fucking showing up because it's genuinely fun and I feel like it's good for the world. And because of that, I've ended up having amazing success at this. And so this is the thing I'd recommend for you. Ask yourself that question. If you were already a billionaire, you had more than enough money, what is the work that you'd be spending your time on? And if the work you'd be spending your time on is content, just like me and my friend that I told you about, then just consider the top link in the description. I'll help you with that. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah!